We're here today with Patrick Smith. Patrick is the head of Century 21 Cascade, a phenomenal company from everything that I've heard about you. And Patrick, how many offices do you have now?
We currently have 6. We're located in Sun River, Bend, Camas, Washington, Clackamas, Beaverton, and Vernonia. And a lot of people, even Oregonians, ask me, where's Vernonia? But it's almost to the coast.
I know exactly where it is because they have a beautiful bike trail that I've ridden many times.
Great bike
Oh,
trail.
that is just, that's gorgeous out there. It really is. I didn't know you had an office out there.
We do, yeah.
Fantastic. So really, you're covering a very wide area. Yeah. You know, there's been a lot of things in the media about real estate and where we're going. What do you see in the market today in those different areas that you're covering?
So I think we're seeing what everybody else is seeing and what they're experiencing. There's definitely been a slowdown in the market. A lot of people like to compare it to 2008, 2009, and this current market has nothing to do and nothing in common with 2008 and 2009. The only thing it has in common is a little bit slower market. The reality is we still have we're very low on inventory in the housing market. That's across the country. We're seeing that especially along the West Coast, certainly in Oregon and in Washington.
Fantastic. Now, you know, what I see in the media when I'm looking at it, and of course I look at everything under a microscope to do with our business, but what I see is a lot of negativity from different people, and I think it's from people that really don't know what's going on in the market, because they'll make statements and they kind of sensationalize negative things, which sells more. You know, sells more news, sells more time, more people stay engaged if it's something that's a crisis. But really, our crisis is that there's not enough homes for sale. Any market that I've seen, any commercial market is driven by what? Supply and demand.
Exactly.
And our supply is very limited. So where do you see prices right now in comparison to, say, a year ago? Are prices falling? Because I've heard the sky is falling in the media, but then I look at other numbers and I don't see that. What do you see out there?
Yeah, certainly the sky is not falling. Look, we had a lot of corporate buyers in 2019, 20, and 21. And corporate buyers are those cash buyers who came in and really elevated home prices. And so home prices accelerated so quickly and so out of control that something had to be done. And we in the industry, I think collectively, were saying at the time, this has to stop. There has to be an end to this. Well, the end came on the week of April 25th of 2022, I guess it was, when the Fed decided to do a rate hike. And it's so funny, Jeff, because we had so many buyers drop out of the market and said, I'm not paying 5% for a mortgage loan. And those same folks who said that a year and a half ago are now saying, 7.5%, that's not so bad. So they've become used to the new normal. And really, if you look historically at interest rates, especially home interest rates within the U.S., 7.5% is pretty much average.
Yes, it is. And, you know, if you go back and look at like the last 50 years, you're really between 7.5 to 8.5%.
Yep.
That is really the norm. Now, the monthly payments have risen because of the home prices. Yep. But
we are seeing those come down. We are seeing some retraction, and sellers, unlike in previous markets, sellers are very willing right now to be flexible.
I've been seeing a lot of seller concessions, and for a couple of years, you almost didn't see anything at all, unless they did an inspection and found something really egregious going on with the house, and then, okay, well, we'll give you your closing costs, but we don't want to fix anything.
Exactly.
So it was really a tough market for a long time. So actually, what you're saying then, it's kind of a good time for buyers right now, because while there is limited inventory, we're not seeing as many multiple offers. Is that correct?
That's correct. So the only situation where we're still seeing multiple offers on those properties that are priced somewhere below $450,000, and they have to be priced at the low end of their comparable value. So in other words, if the realtor presents CMA to a client and says, hey, look, I think your home is valued anywhere on the low end of 375, high end 425. We need to price it somewhere in there. If that seller prices their home at 375, they probably are going to see multiple offers. But reality, insanity has taken over, I think. And so for most people, they're not seeing quick 4-day sales. Average market time is greater than 80 days right now. And home prices are retracting a bit. We've seen about a 5.5% reduction in home prices over the last year. And that's a good thing.
Okay. And I look at national numbers. The national numbers that I saw said about a 3% correction. But at the same time, if you look at charts right now for this year to date, we're actually seeing healthy appreciation.
Yes.
And that is, FHFA, which is all the conforming loans. Right. So that's one of the price points. They used Zillow. They used 5 different reliable sources. CoreLogic was one of them.
Yep.
And the difference, the way that they collected data was a little bit different, but they all agreed that we're seeing between 5 and 10% appreciation for 2023, whereas 2022, we did see a little bit of a contraction in price.
We did. And as I said, that's a good thing. And the sky is not falling by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, everybody thought the sky was falling legitimately in 2008 and 2009 and 10. However, people thought there's no way home prices were going to come back anytime soon to those levels, because there were parts of the Portland metro area that lost as much as 35% in home values. And look what happened.
Right. And this, you're talking about back in the 2008 to 2012 era.
And that was only 15 years ago.
Yeah, so, not that long ago. Yeah. However, one of the major reasons for that, I know, is that there were some really shoddy lending practices out there. The lending was, they were, if you could fog a mirror, basically, you could buy a home and with 100% financing. And that was not right. So I think what created that was there were so many homes that were put on the market, and then there were not enough buyers out there, and that created part of that crash. Besides the fact that that whole segment of our market just totally collapsed.
Right, and we do have buyers right now. We have very motivated, hungry buyers. However, they're very discerning more than they've ever been. 1, because of home prices, and 2, because of interest rates. And what buyers are starting to realize is they're not buying a mortgage, they're buying a house. And they understand that when, and it will be a matter of when, mortgage prices come down or mortgage interest rates come down, that they can refinance their house. And at that point, they'll have a little bit more equity in their home.
Absolutely. And with home values continuing to go up right now, if they get in now at a higher interest rate, if they wait 5 years, that same home would probably cost them about $100,000 more, according to the projections. And you're absolutely right. One of the things that New American Funding does is we have a 5-year interest rate guarantee. Most mortgage companies sell your loan the minute the closing documents are dry, and you're off with another thing. We actually keep our loans, and we have a 5-year interest rate guarantee where we have no lender fees for a refinance for 5 years. So
that's fantastic. And people really need to understand how valuable that is, because one of the homes I purchased over my lifetime, the loan was sold 3 times before I ever made my first mortgage payment. And to the point
Three times? I think that's a record.
I thought it was a record too. It had to be. It had to have been. So I actually had no idea who I was making my first mortgage payment out to. It's like, who do I write this check to?
Yeah, I love that. And that's one of the reasons I joined New American Funding, because I love the fact that after we create this very important relationship with our clients, that we're able to maintain that relationship and they don't get shipped off to somewhere else. That's Patrick, wonderful. Thank you so much for being with me today. We'll talk more.
Thank you.